Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Dr. Edward Grube, one of the smartest people I know, is going to be joining us, coming up to cover a host of issues in the next segment. Then we've got another doctor coming on, brain surgeon, medical doctor. It pretty much comes to the same analysis as Dr. Grube, Dr. Russell Blaylock. Hard to get guests. We appreciate him coming on. We'll talk about Obamacare and how his predictions of what it would do, I thought were a little over the top to show how naive I am. And exactly what Blaylock said is now happening. You can go back to the interviews 4 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. I mean, it is precisely. By the way, Dr. Blaylock goes, and we went and covered him in Las Vegas. There was like 2,000 medical doctors and scientists there paying huge amounts of money just to hear him speak for 2 hours. He developed all the stuff that's common literature now, like cytotoxins and all these terms that he literally 25, 30 years ago researched and coined are now like mainline. He invented a bunch of the top brain surgeries used today. I'm not trying to go into a worship fest of Blaylock. It's just that he is amazing. He's going to be joining us coming up in the third hour because I don't have the staff. If I had the money, I would have people that just chronicled in a word search. I guess we're kind of doing that now. Everything we talk about and what our guests say and predict, so that we could then just go right back to it and pull it, with like a word search. At this point in the video or in the audio, they said this, and then we could go back and find it. By the way, I mentioned this earlier, but we were able to find it. Bush, in January of 2009, when Obama was president-elect, he was saying, I like Obama. We've been playing golf and hanging out, and you know what's great about it? Obama, as things collapse and get really bad, he's not going to go, oh, woe is me, and cry about it. He's just going to, deal with it. And it was all an inside, oh, my gosh, they're going to drop the hammer on everybody. This is the controlled implosion. I mean, they're right out there telling you what they're going to do to you. And if you play ball with them, you can be like Bill Clinton and keep half the money that he collected for the charity in Haiti. And he uses it for his $40,000 one-way trip, luxury $50 million jet he flies on. So you give money for little black kids in Haiti, it literally goes into the pocket of the pig, Clinton, when he flies to Japan to get paid $500,000 to get a delayed payoff. That's how they do it, as speeches. Or he flies, to London to be paid $1 million, or flies to university to be paid $100,000 is his lowest thing for universities. He flies on a private jet with his hookers and all his drugs and the rest of it, paid for by poor people that send in money to help Haitian kids. I'm sorry, it's just so sick. And then you've got Foxconn, the worst factories in China, many studies have shown, where they have a urinal under the women and the men, and you have to defecate and urinate at your chair. And then they've got suicide nets, and they drug you, and they do forced pregnancy tests and do forced abortions right there in the factory. And then you stay in these Warren 200-square-foot. Well, actually, in some areas, you actually get in a coffin, and they slide you into the wall. I'm not joking. So actually, 200 square foot's for us here now. They're going to raise the taxes where you have to live in a 200 square foot. That's Bloomberg. San Francisco and New York are doing it. Actually, there it's coffin size. I'm sorry, it's smaller. And they put you in these coffins in the wall, and then you defecate and urinate standing there at the thing, and they put you on drugs. And, of course, they're getting ready to replace them with robots. But because Al Gore is on the board of Apple, it's like, oh, that's nice. If you're against, the Chinese being used as slaves, you're racist against them. And again, they didn't industrialize China to empower the Chinese people. They did it to enslave them and use them up while the Communist Party pigs sit up there perched on everyone. If you want a good economy, you're like Henry Ford, who paid people about 10 times what the regular factory wages were. He said, I want people to have money to buy my cars. A lot of people think that the essence of tyranny is black uniforms, cameras, drones, secret police. And yes, we've got all that. And a government that runs al-Qaeda publicly and uses the threat of al-Qaeda to take our liberties. And a government that has the IRS persecuting gun groups, veterans groups, Christian groups, pro-life groups, alternative medicine groups. I mean, you name it, the tyranny's there. The examples of corruption are legion. But even in Congress, we got a special report coming up on the nightly news tonight because there's a bunch of examples of this, are having hearings now about the executive branch being a dictatorship. Oh, I'll just make the illegals legal. I'm the president. I'm God. I'll just put us under NATO. Well, you can't do that. It's unconstitutional. I do whatever I want. I'll just shut down all the power plants that General Electric doesn't own and double and triple their profits. I'll just put carbon taxes in a regulation about microwaves that isn't even law, and then put carbon tax on everybody's carbon expenditure. Obama did that this year. And it's just now added to your bill. He didn't even sign an executive order. I mean, they could start interpreting his flatulence if they wanted to. And you know, have some tea reader, tea leaf reader. That's how the ancients did it. They would take like bones and put it in a fire, and how the bones broke, they would go off that. Or they would go to the Oracle of Delphi, some woman breathing, nauseous gases, hallucinating stuff. Really, they had the people behind them telling her what to say. It's political manipulation. But my point is that they could, run the country according to Obama, going out and looking at a butchered bull every morning and reading its intestines. That's what the Romans would do. I mean, it literally God emperor type stuff has begun. And Congress, I played a clip earlier, is having hearings going, well, actually, the precedent's been set for the executive to be a dictator. And now suddenly everything's executive. Exactly. We're now going into a dictatorship. And let me show you a headline up at drudgereport.com right now. No one says it like Drudge does. Dirty Harry, that's Harry Reid, exempts staff from Obamacare. And by the way, now admits there are death panels. Because it's now law, suckers. And that is from CNN. That's right. One of the main architects in the Senate of it admits that his people are exempt. And again, that's the real essence. At the bottom of tyranny is that 4 legs bad, 2 legs good, to use the George Orwell Animal Farm analogy. Because it started out with the pigs to the horses and other animals. Let's revolt against the humans. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. But by the time the pigs were done and had run the humans off with the horses' help, they were inside the house dressing like humans, saying 2 legs good, 4 legs bad. And that's what they're doing. It's totally illegal. My dad came into work today to visit me and was showing me his insurance. It went up 30-something% 2 months ago. And so he's lucky. A lot of people's double, triple, quadrupled, or 500-and-something% in Texas with Humana for families with no pre-existing conditions. And he got another letter. It's up 30% again. And so that's how they're doing it. Every few months, it goes up 30-something%. My dad's never used his insurance. For whatever reason, I learned this from him. I don't know why he does it, but I guess you think he keeps your insurance down. When he goes to the doctor every once in a while for a checkup, he just pays cash. He pays with but it doesn't matter. That still gets filed with him through the surveillance system. And that's what Obamacare is about as well, tracking everything you do, feeding it back. This is the mega total ripoff. And it's designed to try to stop alternative medicine from getting any kind of Medicare, Medicaid, or insurance money. It's designed to lower the quality of care. And it's designed to let insurance companies, in some cases, charge 11 times what they did previous and not cover pre-existing conditions. And all these morons that are in the news going, well, 10% of America was able to sign up. They're now going, I signed up. I'm in the system. They go, well, we can't even get on a system. You're not signed up. Where's your insurance card? They go, it's free. Obama. I got an Obama phone. Now I get Obamacare. And they look at them and they go, there is no free health care. There was previous under charity care, under law. We've pretty much gotten rid of that now. Some doctors are still trying to do it, but they're being told by the big management companies you can't. Just like it came out in the news yesterday, I saw it on Drudge 2, that small banks and credit unions are being shut down under the banking regs that were supposed to fix the mega banks. The mega banks wrote that to shut down their competition. They've got unlimited bailout money now, and then the local bank can't do fractional reserve banking, so they're shutting down. That they don't want you to get money. They want a fixed system. Comprende? All you're going to get is a screw job. They got you addicted to government and the NFL distractions and and the opiate of the masses, the gladiatorial diversions, and now they fattened us up, and now it's butchering time. And many of you will settle for 10% of the chicken feed you've been getting by the time they're done, instead of being free and wealthy and prosperous. You want slavery. You love slavery. And the system thinks that you're ready now. You'll eat GMO, you'll drink all the poison, you'll do whatever. Well, why not? Why not just take your pension funds? Why not spy on everybody without warrants? Why not set up checkpoints? Why not cut babies out of women's wombs for CPS now? Why not have the FBI persecute the Tea Party under orders from the White House, and it comes out and no one gets in trouble? That's how Hitler started, was just persecuting his political opposition with regulations and audits and things. And so I wanted to get Dr. Ed Group in here with us because, man, I tell you, none of us are perfect. I have a vision of what I want in my life, but I obviously can't get there overnight. I thought they'd kill me any time for a decade, so I just ate like a pig, was totally unhealthy, and because I've been physically attacked and death threatened a lot, and I just thought, well, you know, why even worry about what I look like or feel like? Now I realize it's long haul. Tommy Pilato, a movie producer, friend of mine, he said, Alex, that's how they really kill you, is making you think they're going to kill you, and then you just don't care about yourself. You're killing yourself. So it's taken me about 5-6 years to lose 40-something pounds, to get healthier. And I weighed 275 pounds at the height of it, folks. So I'm still a little bit overweight, but actually standing there out of the shower, I got a little bit of fat on my stomach. I just got a long torso. I actually look pretty good now. I don't look that good on TV. It puts weight on you. But the point is that my brain works so much better. And I've gotten into supplementation and tried to research it the last 3-4 years in this process of detoxing, trying to get my life straight. And I finally found Dr. Group and the things he was doing. And I learned stuff from him that I didn't hear from anybody else that has just been absolutely miraculous. Like, he helped us develop this only form. It's the only form. It's totally proprietary of nascent iodine that is totally bioavailable and absorbed by the body, not bound. And other iodine's great as well. I mean, it's just this is the best stuff from my research. And, of course, that helps us fund our operation as well, InfoWarsLife.com. But I wanted to get him in here to talk about this big stack of news where Harvard now admits fluoride decreases IQ. Areas in Germany, the Netherlands, all over are removing fluoride, so good news. And then we're going to get into some other systems of detox with him as well, because the real revolution here is that they're targeting our bodies so that we're so poisoned that we can't even get upset or motivated to resist them. So the revolution starts with our bodies. It starts with getting our kids out of the public schools. It starts with decoupling from the system, not caring what Hollywood and the media say, and that's happening. Congress has a 6% approval rating. The mainstream media is dying, but we've got to go all the way and not just leave Babylon, not just come out of Egypt, but actually build a new promised land. And there is no silver bullet, but there's a process. And Dr. Ed Group joins us here today in studio, advisor to InfoWarsHealth.com, InfoWarsLife.com, and, of course, InfoWars.com. And he's here with us today. You've heard my rant about Obamacare and how the government and the corporations are exempt. I mean, is that not the ultimate form of discrimination? Of course they're screaming racism all day if you love liberty as a distraction, because they're actually cheating all of us that aren't on the inside group.
That's been going on for a long time when they started putting fluoride in the water and everything else and poisoning the air and poisoning the food. But today, you know, if you look at the combination of chemicals that we're exposed to every day, I mean, fluoride is so toxic. I mean, the hydrofluorosilicic acid that they put in the water supply. And if you have a hard time saying that, you just automatically know it's a poison. I mean, it's almost as poisonous as arsenic. So what I try to do is tell people it's everywhere. I mean, if you go to Starbucks and get some coffee, you're drinking fluoride. If you drink beer, you're drinking fluoride. Wine, all the food that you make, the bread that you eat, all of it has to be made with water, right? I mean, the water that you're spraying on your yard, your organic garden.
Plus, they add it to the bread.
Prescription medications have fluoride in it. I mean, you're right. It's designed to dumb you down, to make you non-motivated and non-aggressive. So really, what I want to talk about is how people can address that and how people can reduce that, because there's a million chemicals we could pick out there. But really, if you take like the top 5, I mean, they know, and it's been in the water system and it's been everywhere for so long, how detrimental fluoride is. It wasn't until, like, for example, if you stick your hand in hydrofluorosilicic acid, you will die just because you came in contact with it. That's how poisonous it is. You can't breathe the gases. So it was funny that Anthony Gucciardi mentioned in late 2012, you know, well, what is out there? I mean, what can you develop a product that will get rid of fluoride inside the system? And I was like, you know what, that's a great idea.
That's right, it's Gucciardi that came up with it.
Yeah, so I said, you know, I've got about a 2-year waiting list for product development, but I was like, wait a second, if you can address the main chemical that's dumbing people down, you know, reducing the IQs of children, you know, the list goes on, and you've talked about it for years and years. What if we could develop a product that would actually help the body detoxify fluoride? And, you know, with the survival shield, with the iodine product that we came up with, that's great because the iodine saturates the thyroid and it doesn't let the fluoride in. But what about something that we could use and take on a regular basis to protect the children, and techniques on how to avoid fluoride from coming into the
That's right. We're going to talk about that today because we are launching the new product today. We're only spend about 5 minutes on that and get into news and analysis, folks. But this is amazing because Dr. Group off record said, hey, when you got to be on Coast to Coast AM or something, you got to stay up all night, try not drinking coffee, try taking a double dose of the iodine, and it literally is a brain booster for me. We'll be right back. Cities and counties are pulling fluoride out of the water in New Jersey, in states like Arkansas, a whole bunch of them. So they're passing federal mandates of money to the states where the state doesn't get the federal money that's really state money, citizen money, if they don't fluoridate. So they're passing laws that the water's got to be fluoridated and public schools have to have it, when for 7 years the American Dental Association and Medical Association have said under 5 don't drink it. And I've had arguments with doctors that don't know that, and they look it up and they go, oh my God, no one told me this. So we forced them to say don't drink it. And the scientists at the FDA have gone public, God bless them, again, that's an example of good people in government, in 2000 and again in 2009, 90+% of them signed official deals, could have been fired, and said take it out, it's giving people cancer, thyroid, IQ, and they said no. So here's the deal, folks. I've actually got to commend the government scientists trying to get it out. It's the citizens sitting down on their butts. People should be angry. So Dr. Group, I want to get into fluoride and all that, but you've got the floor. We are launching Fluoride Shield, Fluoride Detox, but it doesn't just detox that, and it is the super combo. Because Gucciardi had this idea, as you said, a couple of years ago. You were so busy, I should also add, you're one of the major formulators in the country. You yourself have lines of stuff that are your national bestsellers and are really, I guess, nutramedical, I guess they'd call them. They're used in hospitals, you name it. But the whole point is I appreciate you helping us do this because you're on board with the Liberty Movement. Tell us about how you developed and are allowing us to be the sole proprietary distributor of it, Fluoride Shield. Tell us what's in it.
First of all, I thought it was just an incredible idea, and so I really wanted to put a lot of effort into it and spend a lot of time researching it because ultimately I want to help everybody out just like you. And
by the way, you couldn't get one of the agreements, ingredients for about 6 months, and this all got held up, and I said, just take it out. You said, no, I will not put it out unless it's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's exactly what it was, and the ingredient was shilajit, and it actually is a black mass. It's an organic mass that grows out of the mountains in the Himalayas. So they actually have to go up there and harvest it at a certain time of the year. It's like a black ooze, and they harvest it, and it's very high in minerals. And it's been used in Ayurvedic for thousands and thousands of years. It's a miraculous healing compound, but it's high in fulvic acid and has the ability to help chelate and pull metals and toxic compounds out of the system. So that was one of the main ingredients. And by the way, these ingredients are hard to get. I've got organic fulvic acid in there. I've got tamarind, which a lot of people don't know about, and that mobilizes metals and fluorides from the body.
Nascent iodine.
Montrose, and then iodine in there as well. Not a lot like the Survival Shield, but you can actually take the Fluoride Shield and the Survival Shield at the same time. And
you explained how it all triggers it. One thing gets it moving, the other grabs it. Explain it.
Yes. Well, it's got zeolites in it too. And so basically what we want to do is we want to take something that's going to target toxic chemicals, especially fluoride. Some of it, like cilantro, is going to mobilize it from the cells, and then the zeolites are going to pick it up, and the fulvic acid's also going to chelate it or bond to it so you can extract it normally from the body. So, you know, especially with the dental fluorosis, the skeletal fluorosis, people losing hair, arthritis, joint pains all over the United States. I mean, one of the best things when he came up with that idea was like, that's great because that's the one thing that you can really turn you around super fast. I mean, as far as health is concerned, because you need to be able to understand and have mental clarity if you want to fight against the opposition, if you want to fight against everything else, and if you want, especially with the Obamacare situation right now, people need to start taking responsibility for their own health. They need to start cleaning their body. They need to start detoxifying, and they need to be aware of the things that they're putting in their system.
And you warned us on air, and you warned me, because I took it for several months, just the proprietary nascent iodine before we actually bottled it and put it out, that get ready, you may start detoxing. And I felt a few weeks into it kind of sick for a while, a little bit, but then it passed, like you said, and then you said, look, I'm not going to say a bunch of this on air, but just wait what it does to your clarity. And I guess just the nascent iodine alone, I guess stripped out a bunch of stuff that was fogging me up in my glands, for lack of a better word. Leanne has said the same thing. I mean, I literally can be staying up all night. I don't drink coffee now. I will hit the iodine. And, of course, you got to consult a physician. Sometimes I take more than what it says recommended. You told me privately what you really take. And I was like, man, is this guy crazy? Let me tell you, this stuff's amazing.
Well, it's easy to tell people avoid artificial sweeteners, avoid alcohol. You know, they can avoid it. But it's hard to tell people to avoid fluoride because what? Are you going to not go out to the restaurant and eat anymore? Are you not going to have water anywhere? All the food's made with water, the soup, I mean, everything. It's hard to avoid fluoride. It's in everything. So that's why I figured it's a great idea to have a product that someone can take on a regular basis that will actually help them immobilize and eliminate fluoride.
What is it doing in the brain, though, for the clarity? I mean, it's amazing. What is it?
What it's doing is it's decalcifying the pineal gland, number one, which is bringing your consciousness up and making you more aware and giving you a more spiritual connection. And then
it's undoubted. The dreams I'm having, I mean, quite frankly, this stuff's amazing. I don't know. We're going to be right back, but that's the old product. I'm going to tell you about the new one.
We're on the march.
And we're going to get into everything, all the news. We've got to get into all this news. Stay with us.
Alex Jones.
Maybe once a month or so, I have a guest on where we're plugging some products that funds our operation. And what I do is I go out and research things for years, and then what I use for myself and my family, my children all take this, my wife takes it. She's like, what on earth is this? This really is doing what you're saying. It's amazing. Well, obviously, ProPure is the best gravity-fed filters out there that I could find. Cuts out the glyphosates, the fluoride. So I sell that. I use it. And then you can block them putting the fluoride in your water and be healthy, and we can fund the media operation. Win, win, win. That's just old-fashioned free market, good products, capitalism. You know, good karma, good reap what you sow, whatever you want to call it, folks. That's what I'm into. And again, I'm being honest about it. I'm like, well, it's got all these other 5 great ingredients. I'm sick of waiting. Let's call it, Fluoride Shield Turbo or something once I get the Shilajit. Because he's like, well, we've got some good Shilajit, but it's not the best, and I want it this. And I'm like, look, I've been waiting 6 months here for this. Oh, and that's the final issue. They only got half the Shilajit. They thought, and this is not a advertising tactic, though it is. Just, the truth is what sells. But it is true. We got a third of what I originally wanted to order. And it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks till I get more. And so I almost didn't even come out with it just because it's pointless. We're just going to sell out of it in like 2 days. But we have 2 new products, Super Male Vitality and the Fluoride Shield, that will sell out in days. And we won't have more for 4 to 6 weeks. Okay? I mean, period. So I've been wanting to get Dr. Grupa in here anyways. So that's it. We have plenty for now of the Survival Shield proprietary nascent iodine. And just to give you an example, the other ones, which I'm sure are great for you and everything, are black on paper because they're oxidized mixed with alcohol. This is bound up in the non-GMO from Germany glycerin and turns bright blue on paper. I mean, I'm just giving you an idea of the differences here, just visually what goes on. And we do have plenty of that at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139 if you want to call and order it. And it's also good to store as well. But this is something you take daily. Consult your physician. Because a lot of you are super toxic like I was. I mean, this is not a game. This is not a joke. This is real stuff, okay? And what's blown me away is that I'm like, listen, Group is taking forever. Let's go find, I told Group this, for somewhere else to put this out. And I found out the industry is so unbelievable with fillers and all the rest of it that I could get stuff for like $2, ladies and gentlemen, instead of paying $16, $20 a bottle myself or something to get the real stuff. And I went and did research. Okay, I mean, that's the difference with these companies and these fillers, and even a lot of the stuff that's seen as super good and wonderful. And again, I don't need to differentiate the competition to sell this stuff. I'm telling you, folks, we're bringing you, from our research, the very best stuff. And I'm done plugging it. Let's get into fluoride, but let's finish up, Dr. Group, what you were telling me about what fluoride does, how it supercharges the body. The point is, this is available now. It'll be the middle of January till we have more of this, folks. And I'm not even getting into the super male vitality. We got such a small amount of that. And I'll be honest with you, folks. I took this when we had the formula 3 months ago for about a month. I quit taking it except for about a third of the even recommended dose because I don't need the super male vitality, okay? Okay, I don't need it in the morning, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to literally start, I mean, I can't take it, okay? But for guys out there, let me tell you, the leading competitors are double the price, like $100 for this stuff. And our stuff's, 50-something or 60-something because the ingredients that are in it. And I'm telling you, I wanted to try all this stuff out. Other competitors don't do anything or give me a headache. This super male vitality, when we finally get enough of it, is going to be a market changer, okay? The problem is that it's so hard to make. And again, group, why is it so hard to make good stuff? And then you've got the floor.
Well, because nobody else out there takes the time and effort to research the ingredients and make sure that they mix everything correctly, that they use cold processing, that they use all glass equipment. I mean, most of the stuff out there is done in aluminum-based production vessels, stainless steel production vessels. All that can affect the way that it mixes together. People use alcohol extractions, which are dated back to, thousands and thousands of years ago. No one's reinvented the way to process herbs or came up with new technology and utilize new technology since we have, really. I mean, and that's like starting from scratch and figuring out how we can extract, because see, alcohol extractions only get about 40 to 50% of the constituents of the plant out.
But what kind of pitch is that? Don't buy this, it's too strong. I mean, what is in the super male vitality separately?
What's in the male vitality is a proprietary formula, and I developed it because men everywhere are experiencing andropause right now.
Because they're putting all the garbage in them.
When you turn 30, your body, a male, their body starts producing more estrogen than testosterone. And we have a major problem with all the estrogen, soy, all the phytates, the plastics, everything that's mimicking estrogen. And actually, talking about fluoride, it does the same thing. Fluoride causes excess aluminum to be put up into the brain, which causes problems. And fluoride is associated with excess estrogen levels in the body, too. And fluoride reduces sperm count. It reduces the reproductive area.
Well, that's why John P. Holdren says they put it in the water, is for mainly infertility. To make you infertile, yeah. And
what we have now is we have two girls being born for every one male. So they're trying to reduce the amount of males with the fluoride and all the other stuff.
Unbelievable.
So with the male vitality, that was designed to bring you back to when you were a teenager again, bring you back to where you're 18, regulate and normalize your hormone levels, growth hormone.
Why can't I handle it?
Well, you're already like a dominant, testosterone male. I mean, this is you're only 39 too. So anytime after 40, as your levels continue to go, and plus you're avoiding the estrogens. And I
was about to say, and I've been exercising. I mean, I still take it sometimes, like in the morning if I'm tired or don't want to work out or something. It's just that I did get crazed in about 3 weeks on this.
Well, you have to look at your personality, and you have to look at what, if you're having fatigue, if you're having extra weight gain like males do around the trunk area, if you're eating a crappy diet with all kinds of estrogens and stuff like that, and you're having, sexual dysfunction, which look at all the men on Viagra and everything these days.
And again, I just want to say, folks, well, just get the male vitality. It's going to sell itself. Wait till people try this.
And put it this way, it makes you feel like you're 16 or 17 again. And it gives you that energy boost.
No, I'm just saying I take a lot less of it. You were telling me, but also we're going to come up with a female version, but quite frankly, you were saying women that does the same thing for women.
I've had women call my office and basically say, what are you giving to my husband? And do you have some for me? Because it's completely changed their relationship. I mean, they're able to have sexual relations again. They're balanced out. I mean, the guy is confident about himself because he's gaining muscle. He's losing that extra fat. He feels young again. And it's all about, with health, health really is giving you self-confidence. I mean, when you look in the mirror and you look good and you look healthy, then you're self-confident when you go out into the world. When you look in the mirror and you don't look good and you feel bad and you're hungover or anything like that, you don't have that self-confidence for that day. You don't have that drive and that passion to go out into the world and accomplish what you want to accomplish. And that's why I want to help people detox the fluoride. And really, you know, with fluoride, it affects babies and affects children and affects older people even worse. And, you know, especially with children and mixing the fluoridated water in with their baby formulas. I mean, they get 400 times the amount, or at least.
We did this with Natural News editor, naturalnews.com, Mike Adams, where he brought in the leading, a few years ago, we should do this again, leading baby formulas. They were like 75% sugar and high fructose corn syrup. I mean, no wonder. I mean, I've seen the studies where kids that drink formula have smaller brains.
Exactly, exactly. I mean,
you're meant to be getting fat right from your mama. I mean,
you know, and the tests that have come back when they tested breast milk have shown very, very, very low fluoride levels in there. But when you put water and you bathe the children in fluoridated water and you're around it all the time, then you're going to have all those endocrine disruptions. And
you were telling me what fluoride does to other things, like how it supercharges the uptake of aluminum?
Yeah, it supercharges the uptake of aluminum. It causes damage to the liver, causes damage to the brain, causes damage to the kidneys. It reduces IQ, like we talked about. It gives you that brain fog. It reduces, it can cause skin rashes. You know, people that have skin rashes can be fluoride sensitive. The list goes on and on and on and on, but it's just the fact that it chronically suppresses the immune system too. And that way you can't activate your own body self-healing mechanism, which we've talked about a bunch of times. It's all about reducing your chemical exposure and cleansing your system on a regular basis. Cleaning the air, cleaning the water. You know, but the thing is, even though people have water filtration systems and restaurants sometimes have water filtration systems, it's not going to get the fluoride out. I mean, they're just carbon-based systems. You have to have specialized either distillation systems, which is why we use in the production of our products triple distilled water. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. And then we mix that in a certain percentage with glycerin, and then we use that as an extraction medium for the herbs or whatever we're extracting.
What is happening, because when we sold out of it, I looked into carrying other so-called nascent iodine, and we just couldn't sell it because it tasted so bad. And also, I mean, why? What? It tastes and looks like it's oxidizing. What's happening with iodine that's put in with alcohol that makes it black instead of shiny, pretty blue on paper? I mean,
you know, we've tested multiple different types of iodine by different manufacturers, and we're getting different results across the board. First of all, it's in ethyl alcohol. In ethyl alcohol, it might be genetically modified, it might not, but alcohol is definitely a toxin to the body. That's the number one reason why I don't like alcohol extractions. Number two is you're not able to extract or bond the substances into the matrix like you are with glycerin. Vegetable glycerin is what I'm talking about. We would never use animal products, but with the glycerin, you can actually hold the iodine in the matrix, and then when you release it, it should turn a purplish color. That means that you're releasing free iodine onto whatever you want to release it onto. So basically with the alcohol-based tinctures, number one, they taste really, really bad. We don't know what the microgram dose is in some of them. They're all different, and they're really hard to give to children or even pets. Look, I mean, you have dogs and cats right now. Practically every dog and cat that's raised on a human diet, because people give their dog food and the contaminated GMO dog food, which is full of chemicals and toxic metals and all that stuff to their pets, and then their pets eat the crappy food they eat. Dogs and cats are having hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism just like humans. You can't give the alcohol-based product to pets because pets...
But I just want to be clear. This is such a giant country, giant world. We're not in competition with folks with other thyroid, type deals and iodine. I think it's great. Get it from, the quality gourmet salts that have it. Get it from other nascent iodines, whatever. My point is we're explaining why this system is glycerin-based.
Right, and I'm a big supporter. I mean, it doesn't really, it's just like if you want to drive a car. Do you want to drive a Bentley or do you want to drive like a little Volkswagen or something like that? Or, it's a matter of looking at...
But if people can't afford, it's double the strength at half the price leading competitors, our survival shield or our fluoride shield, it's in the big 2-ounce bottle, by the way, they can still get the gourmet salts, correct, that have some of the good iodine in them?
You can get like Himalayan crystal salt, which actually has natural iodine in it, and it's not processed, it's not bleached. All stuff like that. You can eat seaweed, organic seaweed. Of course, make sure it's not coming from over there by Fukushima.
Sure.
But, you know, there's different processing techniques, too, that we even actually test the raw iodine when it comes in with Geiger counters just to make sure that it's not, you know, putting out any type of radiation. It's just a matter of what steps are you going to take to ensure that you're giving the highest quality product to somebody these days, because I've spent years looking at all different types of products out there. That's my whole life, is evaluating and formulating products and getting people the right information that they can trust. I've put my name on it. That means that all of that information has been researched extensively, and it's a passion of mine, just like yours, to bring this information out to the public. So I want to produce the best product out there, and one of the reasons why I started that is because I looked and I couldn't find any good products out there. They all have magnesium stearate in them. If you track it down, they're using herbs that are 2 or 3 or 4 years old that sat in a warehouse at 200 degrees or 150 degrees somewhere, or in a shipping container. I mean, when you really start tracking back, take a product off the shelf at any drugstore or major retailer, and if you call that company, first of all, they're probably not even going to give you any information on it. And if you really track it back...
Listen, some of the biggest companies, we were looking at private label stuff, the bottle costs more than what's in it. And I was like, no, we're not going to buy this. I mean, what is going on out there?
Well, because everybody wants to produce a cheap product. They don't really care about the end consumer. I mean, and that's the good thing about you. That's the good thing about me, is we actually care about the end consumer.
Well, I mean, I don't want the bad luck from selling people stuff that isn't highest quality. I mean, that's like God-fearing. I don't want to get into pitching the thing. I think I'm not even trying to. We just, whenever we're talking, we always talk about this, so it's kind of inside baseball stuff. What do you make of the federal government lobbying states and states passing laws saying cities can't take fluoride out? I mean, for me, that is so outrageous. Why do you think the establishment, Dr. Group, wants to put hydrofluorosilicic acid and other fluorines and the bromine and all the stuff they're putting in the bread? I mean, they've got to know what they're doing.
Of course they know what they're doing. I mean, it's whole part of the population control scheme is about keeping people dumbed down. It's about keeping people sick. I mean, and that's why...
So we can't be mad at Americans and others in the West that are so unhealthy, highest cancer rates, dying, all of that, and being zombies. We've been poisoned.
We are being poisoned. I mean, and that is a super toxic chemical. I mean, the phosphate industry for fertilizer, which is a whole nother big scam, but they use the phosphate containing rocks. They pour sulfuric acid on it. They get these chemicals. It would cost them way more money to dispose of this, because hydrofluorosilicic acid is so toxic. It's almost as toxic as arsenic. With the amount that they're producing for the fertilizer industry, and I'm not even talking about the aluminum production industry, what are they going to do with all that stuff? And this goes back actually into the early 1900s. So they're dumping it in the water supply because they know that it's going to kill everybody off eventually. It's a slow poison. It's a slow death.
And again, for those that don't know, from aluminum smelting, they have it as a byproduct fertilizer, but the big one at the end of World War II, and they had big spills in Tennessee that were killing the whole rivers, was the uranium enrichment. They mined it out of the same limestone. They had all this hydrofluorosilicic acid left, and they went, what do we do for the Manhattan Project? We put it in the water. Oh, man.
Yeah, and what happened was the citizens have actually, especially like in San Diego and in some areas throughout the United States, they've have action networks, and they've fought dating back to the early 1900s and have laws in the cities that they cannot fluoridate the water. But now what's happening is Big Brother's coming down and saying to the states, you have to, you know, enforce this fluoridation. And the states are actually overturning or cutting the funding to these small cities that have not had fluoridated water for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
Making and forcing them to fluoridate the water now.
Well, I was about to say, when I just happened to be at a hotel and they were having a water convention in Arkansas where they passed a law the year before to make you have fluoride. And no exaggeration, I forget, it was like 30, 40, I forget. I mean, had water guys come over and go, we're big listeners, and we don't put it in the water, even though they make us buy it and we got it. It gets gotten rid of.
And it's not only...
And they were all in a conspiracy of liberty for their families. They were just not doing it. See, that's how we're going to save people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Awesome. Well, what I'm saying is it's not just the fluorosilicic acid that they're getting from China now shipping over, but it's all the arsenic and lead.
Stay there. Explain that. Exactly. Stay there. I'm going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about the products anymore that we just launched, Super Male Vitality and the Fluoride Shield. And, of course, it pulls out a bunch of other toxins as well. But I was asking you during the break, and you said, you know, you'll talk about it. your super male vitality that you developed for us, you were explaining, it gets your body to release the testosterone. How does it do that?
Well, what I like to do is formulate stuff that's going to actually help the body heal itself instead of having somebody that just needs to be on something forever. So what that's designed to do, since automatically the male body quits producing hormones, at least testosterone and DHEA and some of the male hormones right around 30 to 40, but we're seeing that even younger now because of the estrogen dominance. What I wanted to do is actually, instead of like what's going on right now where guys are going to the doctor and they're getting these testosterone shots and all this, you know, testosterone creams, and it's altering their hormone levels because they're shooting it into their bloodstream. What I wanted to do is put stuff together where it was going to naturally balance out your hormone levels. So the mixture of herbs and constituents that I came up with actually increases your testosterone levels by, let's say, 20–25% because your body produces more testosterone and it regulates the production of estrogen.
Yeah, I just want to be honest. I take like a third of what the recommended dose is.
Also growth hormone, too. Growth hormone is a major factor, and the formula was designed to balance out your growth hormone levels as well.
It's amazing. Getting back into fluoride, what are they going to do with Harvard studies saying get it out of the water, cancer, IQ reductions? What are they going to do? We can put those on screen. Just Google Harvard study, IQ. How can they keep it in the water when it's totally on record and all their own EPA scientists are saying get it out, and FDA?
If you take a pea-size amount of toothpaste, you're supposed to, if you swallow a pea-size amount of toothpaste, you're supposed to call poison control. That's how dangerous it is. The good news is we are getting more support by, just by the general citizens by getting the information.
The government, I mean, at the scientist level says take it out, but the politicians won't.
Well, that's just because that's how the system works. I mean, they're not going to take it out because they know they don't want a bunch of healthy people around. I mean, hopefully, there is more science leading to the damaging effects of fluoride every single day, which is a good thing. And hopefully in our lifetime, hopefully in the next few years, we can completely get it out. I mean, look at all the other countries that don't even fluoridate their water. Or
are pulling it. Germany, England, they're pulling it.
And China, which is a big manufacturer of arms and everything, is shipping us all that fluoride, that toxic fluoride to put in our water systems.
And they put iodine in the water.
Heavily contaminated with, I've seen pictures of people at the water plants, the technicians that add it to the buckets, and this thick on the bottom of the bucket, they don't even know what it is.
Oh, yeah, no, there's local newscasts of all places. Oklahoma did one another. I've aired them, where they went and tested, it says fluoride from China, and half of it's not even fluoride. It's a mixture of every poison they've got in China. They ship here for the idiot Americans' water.
That's because China gets rid of all their toxic waste by shipping it over here. All the lead and the arsenic and the cadmium.
And the melamine and for the babies.
Everything. They just ship it over here. They say, well, we might as well,
I saw a statistic that 90+% of pharmaceuticals are made in China, including a lot of the vitamins.
That's right. That's right, and there's a lot of counterfeiting going on over in China, too. There's counterfeiters out there right now that are taking popular products, they're getting them manufactured in China, they're putting the exact label on them, and they're selling them on Amazon and selling them through eBay. So if you're looking for a good quality product out there, make sure you go to the source or make sure you go to someone reputable, because these counterfeiters are out there, and they're taking over, and they're focusing on the nutrition industry, because the nutrition and supplement industry is growing at a rapid rate because people don't want to have to rely on their doctors anymore.
Wow. All right, InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free to get your survival shield, your fluoride shield, or your super male vitality. And again, a super male vitality, we just got pretty much a sample shipment. It'll be 4 to 6 weeks till we get more of both of these. InfoWarsLife.com. All right, Dr. Group, I want to come back in the 5 minutes before Dr. Blaylock and have you have the floor with any other points you want to talk about dealing with Obamacare. Stay with us. Then Dr. Blaylock. Dr. Russell Blaylock, medical doctor, getting into Obamacare. And he predicted exactly how it would be implemented, what would happen. I thought that he was a little severe. I didn't imagine they would be this brutal. Dr. Group, they're trying to break this country right now. And the reason they're claiming that the site's broken on purpose is because they don't want people to know that Obamacare is such a screw job because it's written that way, and that your premiums are going up because the site's broken. I mean, it